Well, hello, good morning, and welcome to Bill Riccardi's Weekly Patreon update. I, of course, am Bill Riccardi, a creator and purveyor of fantasy novels. What's going on this week? Well, we've got book 3 of the Ihy Saga rolling right along, and I'll tell you what the progress is on that. We are in the midst of discussion and approval of a very exciting turn in my publishing career, and we will talk vaguely about that without getting into too much detail. Finally, weekend plans and what is going on over the course of the next few days. Let's start at the start, shall we? The Ihy Saga, Book 3, is really motoring along. It seems every time I come back to this series, I can pick up the characters so easily. Lucas and Isidore are like old friends now, and I can really get in their heads and write about what they'd realistically say and do. So it's not really a shock that we're already in chapter 4 after kind of a week's worth of effort. Everything was already outlined, of course, ahead of time. The book was fully outlined during my breaks and what have you, but still, we're doing fairly well here, which is nice. And it's to be mentioned that you might know that the start of every book is from the perspective of God. It was really fun doing the third God's introduction because this is someone who I think is respected or beloved, depending on the way you look at it, and the way we were able to present this particular God would probably be quite a surprise to a lot of people. Although, if they read the context, it would fit right in with this particular character. So lots of fun there, and that was the introduction chapter, of course. And then chapters 1 and 2 just flowed right along. And we're in the midst of chapter 3 as we speak. Already we've seen 2 action scenes, and so now it's time for a couple of more calm scenes, as it were. A couple of character revelation scenes, because this book happens several months after the end of Cadence. So we do have a little bit of time to cover, so there's some exposition as far as what the characters have been doing, who they've been talking to, how their relationships with each other have been affected. Actually, the next couple of chapters after this also kind of cover that aspect of things before we hop right back into the action. So we have a plethora of action early on, then some characterization, and then we're back into action, romance, etc., etc. Fun stuff, I think. So that is well underway and well in hand. Now let's move on to the news that I have that I can't really talk about yet, but we received word from one of our major partners, one of the major folks who helps with the publication of our media, and they seem willing to do a broad experiment with our work. We are the guinea pigs, ladies and gentlemen, for this particular firm. I can't get into too much detail, but I can say that if it works out correctly, then we're going to be exposed to a lot of new ears over the course of the next few months. So let's knock on wood here and hope that this goes through without a hitch, and we'll see how it works out. I've already offered to do absolutely everything necessary in the promotion of this, in the encouragement of this. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm pretty excited though. I wish I could tell you more. Give me a few weeks, and I'll be able to spill all of the beans. That's it as far as the main stuff is concerned. This weekend, I've got a little side project that I need to do under a pen name, and we will, probably get done maybe 5,000 words of that project over the course of a weekend. That's what I shoot for on weekends. Usually my pen name stuff is more off the cuff. It's more casual. It doesn't require as much editing. and it's a lot of stuff that comes off the top of my head. It's the rare time where I get to be a pantser. The outlines are usually pretty loose, pretty vague. So I get to fill a lot. Yeah, that's mainly what I'm doing this weekend. By the time Monday rolls around again, I'll be back in the Ihy Saga's headspace. So there's that. That's it for me. Freezing cold here in Belfast. What else is new? It's January here. I hope everyone in the Northern Hemisphere is staying warm, and everyone in the Southern Hemisphere is taking care of themselves. I talked a couple weeks about how it's actually summer down there, and things can get pretty warm. My heart goes out to Australia, all her citizens, all her animals, because the hell they're going through down there. Climate change is no joke, folks. This is exactly kind of the precursor to as bad or worse events that we're going to be seeing in the future, should we not reverse this process that we've started. So let's all get on that train, literally. Try to use public transport as much as possible. Avoid using your car when you could be using a bus. And let's start pushing the people who make the laws to enshrine into law some more reusable resources of energy. I'm not going to necessarily say renewable, but what I will say is the likes of nuclear power, fourth generation reactors, things of that nature. That's reusable resources. This is energy off of elements that have already been run through their cycle, and yet, no one's using them right now. So let's look at the fourth gen reactors and things of that nature. Far, far safer than anything we've ever seen in the history of man as far as nuclear power is concerned. So yeah, let's try to get the word out and try to encourage your lawmakers to examine these new ideas for potential energy. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.